Well, as I've said, I can't comment on an ongoing investigation.
Well, at least you called it an investigation, so you're off the reservation there. So it's not just a, what did you call it, a security review, I think, because Comey yesterday said, I don't even know what that is.
Sidney Blumenthal, Hillary Clinton's longtime confidant on CNBC yesterday, using the term investigation. Of course, Hillary doesn't use that term. She's been calling it a security inquiry, something that doesn't sit too well with the FBI director. What always sits well with us, the fact that you can join us in this conversation by calling in at 1-877-Newsmax. That's 1-877-639-7629. And to continue this conversation about Hillary and the FBI, from Newsmax New York, we're joined by former New York Police Department Detective Thomas Ruskin. Tom's now with CMP Protective and Investigative Group Incorporated, and Skyping in tonight from Palm City, Florida, former Secret Service agent Dan Bongino. Dan's now the host of the Renegade Republican podcast at Conservative Review. He's also the author of the book, The Fight, a Secret Service agent's inside account of security failings and the political machine. Hey, Dan, political machine, I think about that when we talk about this whole thing with Hillary Clinton and the DOJ. What is your take on it?
Yeah, JD, I mean, I hate to laugh, but this is just the rhetorical dancing, the ballet dance that's going on within the Clinton campaign to avoid calling what is clearly a criminal investigation an investigation is embarrassing. I was a New York City police officer. I was a federal agent. I've arrested people for state crimes, city crimes, and federal crimes. They're called, JD, the Federal Bureau of Investigation for a reason. They're not doing a security inquiry. This is a criminal investigation. That is only controversial amongst far-left kooks who are trying to get Mrs. Clinton elected president. Those are the facts. I'm sorry.
Tom Ruskin, let me get your thoughts on this from Newsmax New York. Security inquiry. Are we into a game of semantics courtesy of Washington, D.C. and Mrs. Clinton?
For sure. I mean, Dan and I both know from our past positions that we had classified information. We had security information. Dan more than I did, being in the White House and being with the president. If he or I had revealed what she had revealed or taken in emails like that on a private server, Dan and I would probably be in cuffs and probably looking for a plea bargain at this point in time. But, you know, it's ridiculous. It is an investigation. As Dan has said very clearly, it's the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and that's what they're doing. They're not looking for security breaches. That's a different department. They're looking to see if there's a violation of federal law or code where the Justice Department would prosecute.
We don't want either of you gentlemen in handcuffs, but we do want you on this call as we are joined via telephone from Fort Lauderdale, Florida by Mike. And Mike, I understand you have a simple goal out of all of this, or something you believe should happen. What is that, Mike?
Yeah, I simply believe that those that are anti-Trump on the Republican side should be watching this investigation very closely. And it should remind them of the last entire 7 to 8 years by Barack Obama, ruining and embarrassing this country and everything we stand for. And we're waiting to see, do you want this woman who has been surrounded by this kind of stuff her entire political life to finish this country off? Because there's one way you can take care of that. You can see what's going on. This woman is guilty as sin. Okay, and you can take back this country by putting your sensitive, little personal, conservative issues and social issues behind you, realizing there is no perfect candidate, but you can have a common goal and make sure that Mr. Trump wins the presidency. Okay?
All right, Mike, I appreciate that. Bottom line is you believe by looking at Hillary and what is being investigated by the FBI, Republicans should be chastened. Democrats are having a tough time. But let's get back to the investigation. The FBI director, James Comey, spoke with reporters. It was called a pad and pin session. No cameras were there. So here is the quote from Director Comey. I don't know what that means. You know, that whole business about a security inquiry. I don't know what that means. We're conducting an investigation. That's the Bureau's business. That's what we do. The word investigation, it's in our name. I am not familiar with the term security inquiry. Now, we have also heard, Dan, that the director said the other day he felt some pressure in this case, but that he had no definite timeline. He was not, it seemed to me, I interpreted it as that he was going to let the chips fall where they may on this. Dan, your take on the FBI director. What kind of pressure do you think he's under?
Oh, JD, it's got to be extraordinary. You know, Jim Comey has a very good reputation in the D.C. circles and the political circles as a nonpartisan, non-ideological actor. Now, is there pressure? Of course. You know, JD, we have a corrupt administration. We don't have an incompetent administration. I think you may know this as well, having spoken to you before. This is a corrupt administration that they think the ends will justify the means. If they have to pressure Jim Comey or pressure the agents to make this investigation go the way they want it to, then that's what they're going to do. You know, they don't, process doesn't matter to them, JD. I can't explain that enough. Whether it was Benghazi or the IRS or all this litany of scandals from Fast and Furious on down that the Obama administration has been involved with, they don't care about process. They care only about their end game, which is the consolidation of power within their elite little circle of far left activists.
Tom Ruskin, let me talk to you about this, because I think many of us are genuinely concerned that we don't criminalize political differences. But the fact that there are political differences should not impede what is a criminal investigation. How does Director Comey strike that balance?
It's going to be very difficult for Director Comey to do that. And as Dan said, he's a very straight shooter. He basically is nonpartisan. He's worked for Republicans. He's worked for Democrats. He basically is not that. Now, I can't say that about Loretta Lynch. I don't know what the Justice Department's going to do. The Justice Department has the ultimate say. Are they going to prosecute Secretary Clinton if there was a violation of law? And I just don't know how that's going to wind up. If the director or his people forward a criminal case forward to the Justice Department for prosecution, ultimately it's the Justice Department and the president who will determine should that case go forward.
Dan, let's just call it like it is. When it comes to Loretta Lynch, if Donald Trump were giving her a nickname, I believe it would be Lapdog Loretta Lynch. She shows no interest in following the rule of law. I look at the absurdity in North Carolina with the bathroom bill, where she's trying to claim that's some violation of the Civil Rights Act, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I mean, think about it, right? 7 years of Barack Obama. I've seen this meme all over the internet, and it's true. 7 years of Barack Obama, nobody knows what bathroom to go to anymore. I mean, is this really where we are as a country? You know, James Woods, the actor, put out a tweet, and he was right. You were fighting ISIS, the worst recovery from a devastating economic recession, post-World War II American history, and the priorities of the Loretta Lynch Justice Department aren't voter fraud, combating terrorism. It's making sure in North Carolina that a dude can walk in the woman's bathroom.
Yeah, I hear you.
Attorney General.
I hear you. Hey, let's get to it. Let's listen to one more caller from America's heartland out in Topeka, Kansas. We've got Ellen. Ellen, you got 30 seconds. Make them count.
I certainly were. Thank you for your service in the Congress.
Thank you.
My comment about Hillary is this. I believe that the Clinton Foundation is funding the FBI, is paying off the FBI to look the other way.
I don't know if it's the FBI. FBI is pretty, we'll see what happens with that. Ellen, we thank you for your call. And we also thank Tom Ruskin tonight from Newsmax, New York, and Dan Bongino from Palm City, Florida. Gentlemen, as more continues with this case, we will continue to watch it, continue to monitor the political fallout, and quite frankly, what is going on in terms of our criminal justice system. Our thanks to you both tonight for your insights and analysis. Now, a reminder, we want to get more of your calls, and you call us. The number that Ellen picked up and dialed, 1-877-NEWSMAX, 1-877-639-7629.